actually have Fire Kings for you today. We have some Magistus, a Harpy pile, and some other interesting little innovations, as we're going to call them. A big 30% of you that have not smashed the living crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Yes, this is Fire Kings. So these deck lists actually come from Just This tournament that we're going to be looking at this week. And I love the little innovations and things that we end up seeing from events like this because they're so cool at the end of the day. Man, this really does take you back. Flamvel Dog with the rekindlings, that's actually exciting stuff to see. I mean, 200 attack points. I mean, you got plenty of backdoor synergy for this deck. So we have one copy of Blaster, the Dragon Ruler of Infernos. We have one Fencing Fire Ferret, triple copies of the Avatar Avarata, triple copies of Barong, and then of course we have one copy of the Fire King Avatar Kirin. We have triple copies of Yaksha with triple copies of Garunix. This is still literally one of the best cards in Fire Kings to date. Like, this card is actually insane. We also have triple copies of Flamvel Dog, one copy of the Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, and then we have two copies of Agnizad the Vanisher. Then, of course, we have triple copies of Circle of the Fire King, two copies of Tenki, triple copies of Fire King Island. This is still very much a classic card, also for what you can do for Fire Kings. We have triple copies of Onslaught of the Fire Kings, two copies of Pot of Duality, triple copies of Rekindling, one Terraforming, one Horn of the Phantom Beast. We also have one Torrential Tribute here. And then we have one Doolittle Chimera, one Time Thief Reader, one Utopia the Lightning with one Utopia Ray. We have one Snaphold, one copy of Crooked Cook, one Baguski, one Utopia, one Diamond Dire, one Dark Rebellion Exceed Dragon, one Giant Coach Trainer, one Castel, one Tiger King, one Alcei, and one Abyss Dweller here, wrapping up good old classic Fire King-esque control. Can I even like call this a control deck at this point in time? Because like you're just playing this deck to apply pressure to your opponent. Next up here is Magistus. Wow. The fact that we've added in like everything Magistus related, and we actually have a working deck here, is actually pretty amazing. I mean, you still have like the little equip shenanigans that you get with this for value, and we are actually playing the Witchcrafter Golem Aluraru here. This is actually a fantastic card for this deck. I think a lot of people tend to look at Magistus and kind of discount it for what it does, but like you have some really cool options that you can bring to the table for this deck. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. We have triple copies of Crowley, the Magistus of Grimoires. One copy of Effect Veiler. We have triple copies of Endymion, the Magistus of Mastery. We have one copy of Ghost Bell for some defensive options. We also have triple Maxi for draw power. Triple copies of Renona, the Magistus of Vure. And then, of course, we have one Summoner Monk, one copy of Aruru. And then we have triple copies of Zora, the Magistus of Flames. Two copies of Called by the Grave. One Harpies Feather Duster, your one Instant Fusion. Triple copies of the Magistus Invocation. Then we have two copies of Magistus Theurgy, and then triple copies of Magistus Vitra, and two copies of the Trice Magistus. Then we have one Ice Dragon's Prison, one Imperm, and two copies of Psalm Strike. Then we have one copy of Selene, one Anima with one copy of Daybreaker. We have triple copies of Artemis, one copy of the Axis Machine. Then we have one copy of Renoda, the Wondrous Magistus Witch Wardrobe. We have one copy of the Glass Goddess. Then we have one copy of the Magistus of Calamity. And then, of course, we have the Magistus Divinity Dragon. And then we have Borreload Savage, 1,000 Eyes, and two copies of the Spell Spirit here. Wrapping up, honestly, some of the more interesting little things and innovations out here that you can actually see in a tournament like this. I kind of love Magistus. Like, this deck is so cool for, like, little things you can get. Plus, your extra deck options are particularly strong for this. Next up is Harpies. We are actually, oh my gosh, we are actually playing magical hats in this deck because, what is it? You have little interactions to like hide the hysteric sign, I believe, under it, and then you know the magical hats will actually detonate it, and then it'll trigger, right? I believe that's how that works. It's one of the slightly more interesting little interactions in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually. So we have one Cyber Harpy Lady, one DD Crow, one Effect Veiler with one Gen X Ally Birdman. We have triple copies of Harpy Channeler with two copies of Dancer. We also have two Harpist with one Harpy Lady 1, We have 1 Harpy Lady Sisters with 1 Harpy Oracle, 2 copies of Perfumer, 1 Harpy Queen, 1 copy of the Fearsome Fire Blast Harpy Pet Dragon. Then we have 1 Heartwind Channeler. We have 1 Alluring Mirror Split, 1 Divine Mist Valley Wind, 2 Elegant Egotist, 1 Feather Duster, 1 copy of Rest, 1 Hunting Ground with Triple Sign. We also have 1 Nest, 1 copy of Requital. Then we have 1 Elegance, triple copies of Featherstorm, 2 Hysteric Party, 2 Icarus Attack, and 1 Magical Hats. Then we have 1 Samort, 1 copy of Harpy Conductor, 1 Great Fly, 1 Arsenal Falcon with 1 Utopia Lightning, 1 Baguski, 1 Utopia, 1 Big Eye. We have 1 Draco Sack with 1 Chidori, 1 Zero Fine, 1 Phantasmal Dragon, and then we have 1 Cyber / Harpy Lady, we have 1 Crystal Wing, and 1 Black Rose Dragon here, wrapping up our Harpy deck. Next up here, we have some Spriggan action here. I figured one of the cooler things that we would actually get the chance to see here is the fact that, Spriggans actually can see play in a tournament like this. Also, being able to toggle into big ol' Sargass here is actually nothing short of amazing. So we have triple copies of Ash, Blossom, and Joy Spring. We have 1 copy of Effect Veiler, 1 copy of Fallen of Albaz, 1 Ghost Ball in the Haunted Mansion, triple copies of Maxi. We have 2 copies of Branga, 2 copies of the Brothers. Then we have 1 Captain Sargass, 2 copies of Kit. We have 1 copy of the little tribute bring back. We have 2 Rocky with 1 copy of the Supreme Sovereign Servant of Gondola. Then we have 1 Brandon High Spirits, 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Foolish Barrel, 1 Droplet, 2 Gold Gondola, 1 Smashers with 2 copies of Booty. We have 2 Ripple Watch, triple Tally Ho, 2 Imperm, 1 Blast, and 1 copy of Interluder. We have 1 Almirage, 1 Phoenix with 1 Gravity Controller, 2 copies of Explorer, 2 copies of Little Merrymaker, 2 copies of Champion Sargass, 1 Vespinato. We have 1 copy of Zeus, 1 Dingrisu, 2 copies of Sprint, and 1 copy of Rinbroom here, wrapping up, well, your little concoction here for Spriggans. Next up here, woo, we got some Salamangreat out of this tournament. This is actually exciting. This new support, I think, is really, really cool, especially, when you're able to step into this and literally have utility access to any Salamangreat card in your entire deck. Obviously, this deck just makes Link 4s like it's its job. So we have triple copies of Ash, Blossom, and Joy Spring, 1 DD Crow. We have triple copies of Droll and Lockbird with 1 Effect Veiler. We have 1 Ghost Spell with triple Lady Debug, triple copies of Maxi with 1 Space Rock. We have 2 Gazelles, 1 Jack Jaguar, 1 copy of Mirror. We also have 1 Salamangreat to Fire, 2 Spinny. We have 1 Weasel, 2 copies of Called By, 1 Crossout Designator with your 1 Sign Up Mining, triple copies of Circle with 1 Sanctuary, 1 Talents, 1 Will, and then we have 2 Gozen, 2 Imperm, 1 Rage, and 1 Roar. And then we have 1 Update Jammer, 1 Transcode with your 1 Splash Mage, 2 Sunlight Wolf, 2 copies of the Raging Phoenix, 1 Heat Leo, triple Balinx, your 1 Lingaribo, 1 Heat Soul, 1 Access Code, 1 Mirage Dahlia. Then we have 2 Phantasme, 2 Moonlit Chill, 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 copies of Kurtikara, 2 copies of Nibiru, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, and 2 copies of Solemn Judgment here. Wrapping up, well, some power to Salamangreat. And the last we have here is, this is Volcanics. This is what I was excited to see. So we have 1 copy of Great Hurinari Fire, 1 copy Heat of the Fire Channeler, 1 RFG, 1 Doomfire with your 2 copies of Volcanic Emperor. We have 1 Volcanic Queen with triple copies of Rimfire. We have triple copies of Volcanic Rocket, triple copies of Scattershot, triple copies of Volcanic Shell, and then we have triple copies of the Volcanic Shripper, 2 Blaze Accelerators, triple copies of Fire Ejection, 2 Foolish Bro Goods, triple Volcanic Blaze Accelerator, and then of course we got triple Blaze Accelerator Reload, 1 Kurenai, triple copies of Volcanic Emission, and 1 copy of Inferno. Then we have the 1 Sunlight Wolf, 2 Anima, 1 Lingaribo, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 IP, your 1 Hida, 1 Doolittle Chimera, 1 Access Code, 1 Assembled Nightingale, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Downard, 1 Zeus, and 1 copy of the Daigusto Emerald here, wrapping up your chunk of all these sorts of rogue little interesting decks. And then, of course, all the Pyro decks that have been stepping into the light here, actually becoming much more interesting metagame contenders out here. So a little bit of fun stuff this week, but what do you guys think about some of these decks? Is there anything here that you want to mess around with? Anything that looks, super exciting? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons! Thank you! Ah!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.